Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you my latest mock, which is a medieval water mill. I made this build in order to participate to a contest on YouTube organized by CubeBrick. I will put a link in the description down below so you can check out the contest and check out CubeBrick's channel, which has a lot of very cool stuff. In particular now, a lot of a big medieval scene, a big medieval layout. Now, I'm gonna give you a quick overview on what's going on in this mock, and then I'm also gonna tell you a little bit about the building techniques and the building process. So, of course, here we have a water mill, which is the main attraction of this build. The lower floor is, let's say, lower compared to the landscape, and there's a lot of rock work all around. We have this little river flowing from right to left, a little bit of rock work at this side, and then on the left we have a couple of different layers so that from the side of the river we can go up to access the water mill. We have two characters over here, no particular reference to anything there, a little stream of water flowing down into the main river. Here we have a nice tree with a couple of acorns, which are actually minifigure helmets for the recent Forest Elf CMF minifigure, for which by the way, I built an habitat. You can check it out on the channel. The mock has three main point of view, of course, from the front and from the left side. Here is nice and flat and finished. And we also have a little bit of details over here. This is a bit more the hidden side, so it's not as polished as the other side. I left the back open in case I want to further expand this mock, and later I will show you a little bit of details at the back. The mock sits on a half base plate, 16 by 32, with a few extra bricks here at the front and a little bit of overhang here at the back that I will show you in a moment. Here I can show you a couple of close-up pictures. I think the water mill turned out pretty well. Even if I was not sure how to achieve at the beginning this circular shape. I think the tree also turned out well, even if maybe the trunk is a little bit boring, but I actually use a flex tube there to give a little bit of angle, added some roots, and I think the rock work is also not too bad. I would like it to be more roundish, but this is what I've been able to achieve with the parts that I have available in my collection. Maybe in the future, if I will expand this, I can redo a little bit of this rock work to try to get some nicer parts to make it a little bit rounder. Now, let's jump right into the build. So, when I initially started to build, the first thing I built was this river. So, everything started from there. It was in my initial idea to have the river, to have different layers of rock work and landscape, and the water mill on an angle. So that was the idea since the beginning. For the river, I used the same technique that I used for my Star Wars Vision mock, the latest one, where basically the tiles, the 1x4, are on two different plates. So the clutch power is not the best, but it creates a nice flowing effect of the water. This is not as detailed as that, especially in that one I had a lot of sort of waterfall effect at the end, while for this mock I decided to just cut it here and go down flat with tiles. Again, that might be another option maybe for future expansion. Of course, over here, as you can see, I just use snot techniques, so we have all the way till the end we have a line of modified brick so that I can add details, and the same happened here at the front. So all of this part is connected sideways to the main build. I use a few brackets, so there is a couple of little gaps, but not very noticeable. After that, I started to tackle the water mill. And this is where it got tricky, because I wanted to build it on an angle. So I had to find the right geometry with Lego bricks to get that. So the angle that I decided to use is this. I'm going to show you here on a base plate. If you want, you can pause the video and check how many studs are this apart. This will allow me to have this connection, 3 points in this case, to have the watermill at the angle that I wanted. Now, to achieve this angle, it creates another problem. So the angle is perfect for the river, but as you can see, this is way too long compared to the watermill that I wanted to build. I didn't want to have this watermill too massive. So what I did is connect this, add a few supports at the bottom, a few tiles, and actually build the watermill a little bit smaller, and then use the additional parts at the right and at the back to add additional landscape. So for example, here you can see on the side of the build, this is one of the points of connection. On top of that, I added a few tiles, a few plates, a little bit of rock work. That means that potentially I can remove the whole watermill from the build. I just need to remove a few tiles and plates here, a few at the back, and I can easily remove the watermill and rework it. I'm not gonna do it on video now because I will have to remove too many parts. Over here, I didn't finish much the wall. I just added a few plants over here to give a little bit of color. Now, interesting thing is this. Probably the thing that took me the most time was figuring out the watermill. I tried many different combinations and nothing worked out. So at the end, I go back to a very simple solution. I add it to the wall. So every single part of this is connected to the wall. It's basically 2 bricks, 1 tile. Sometimes we want to try very difficult techniques and try to find very cool connections. Sometimes maybe the most simple solution is the one that works better. Here, even this support structure is as well connected to the wall. So here I have this 2x2 that connect in the wall. From outside there, I added some arches to create this sort of support system that looks like is connecting at the wall on the right, but it actually doesn't. So it's actually just sitting there. This is look like all connected, but it's not. I use some wedge plates and bricks to work around this. There's still a few gaps, but are really noticeable only from one point of view. So I think it worked out pretty well. Here I went with a dark tan detail for the landscape around the river and on the sort of walkway towards the watermill. Here a little stream with this liter power blast that goes down. I used that before in many of my mocks. And I added a few loose tiles here and also a couple there to cover a couple of gaps just to finish it up a little bit. Here we have a very simple minifigure. Nothing very fancy, classic stuff. I use a lot of wedge plates to build up this. I went a little bit sideways instead for the rock work to try to create it as organic as possible. After I build this, first I want also to mention, over here I use some snot techniques to build sideways, like I did in one of my medieval vignettes recently, to give a little bit of smoother and broken up corners to this watermill. Anyway, after I build the first level, watermill and this landscape, I attack the top floor. So over here I went with this tan with a few different inserts. I choose this color because I didn't have much bricks available in other suitable color, but I think at the end it works out quite well. I added a few masonry brick, these wooden supports on the side, and I also added some tiles. These are very good because you can basically just slide it in and out. You can give a little push in and out to make the rock work a little bit of texture. The roof, as always, very tricky for me. I wanted to create something a little bit more steep. Then I was running out of time, and actually turned out that a very simple solution like this, it works out pretty okay. So we just have plates and tiles on top, dark red, added a few different kind of tiles to give a little bit of texture and a little bit of details on the roof. This is that, just connect there on a couple of jumpers and it works out pretty well. I can show you also a little bit at the back. So here is where I leave it open because I might consider expanding this one more half base plate. So actually here you can see the support system, and down there you can see I have a little bit of support for the watermill on some tiles. I added a little bit of details here. I didn't bother much about the wall, but I added a little door with a little bit of details, and here the path continue over here. So if we look this from the side perspective, it still look pretty okay because we can see a little bit of path towards the front. The last thing I attacked was the tree. So here is, I have a flex tube inside. So here you can see I can change the angle slightly. Added a little bit of roots at the bottom. And then over here I connected 3 of these big leaf pieces with all the smaller leaf on top. This is a pretty common technique. I have 2 branches coming off. Maybe I can show you one. For example, this one is connected with this and one clip over there. So I can give the angle that I want. Similar thing I did here. Actually, here I'm using one of these minifigure stand in green. So again, this is a very simple technique. And as I mentioned before, we have the acorn head that I used already in another mock previously as an actual acorn. I have 2 of those. Last thing, to add a little bit of color, I added a little bit of green here and there and a couple of flowers here and there to give a little bit of color. Let me know, you guys, your thoughts about this mock, and also let me know some suggestions. Maybe I can think about expanding this, double the size of this mock, maybe bring it to some convention. Let me know what things I can improve. Maybe I can work on some interior for the watermill. Maybe I can use a structure similar to this for the rock wall to expand on both sides. And if I am to double the size of this, what would you build at the back? My ideas, for example, was to add another couple of trees at the back here, and maybe another big structure on the left, maybe some sort of watchtower or something like that. Let me know, guys, your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you, Kubrick, for organizing this contest. Looking forward to see all the cool creation from all the builders participating to the contest. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Ciao, ciao!